Hello, welcome to my series called Will My Altcoin Go Up? In this series, we try to answer, well, will your altcoin go up? So this time we're going to be looking at Litecoin. Litecoin. This is one of the major winners of the 2017-2018 bull run. It went from a very low, let's check it out real quick. It went from a very low dollar, around $1 in that area, and it went all the way up to $420. $420, guys. That's an absolute incredible growth. So from down here to here, we're looking at easily a 10,000% growth, 11,000%. So are we able to do something similar from our lows over here? Well, let's dive in. So just before we get started, just so you guys know who I am, I have 4 years of trading experience. I've been doing this for quite a while. I've made a lot of money doing it, so I am pretty good at what I do. Now, my trading style is systematic, consistent, logical, and unbiased. Okay, so what I do is I only read charts. I don't do anything else. I try to stay as far away from the fundamentals or the news as possible because I believe, and my strategy has proven, that those prices are either unexpected, you can't really predict it, or they have already been priced in. So because of that, I completely avoid that, and all I look at is the raw data and nothing else. Furthermore, it also makes it to where I am unmarried to a chart. That means that I don't have to buy this coin. I can sell it without any sort of like limitations or hesitation because I don't know that much about it. So I know it may sound a little crazy, but I promise you guys, it really does work. So this is Litecoin, as you guys have already talked about. But before we can talk about Litecoin, we have to talk about the most important charts if you are a trader. And that's going to be your Bitcoin dominance chart and your total 2 chart. These are the most important charts you must look at if you are an altcoin trader. Okay, if you only trade Bitcoin, not really that important. However, if you're an altcoin trader, you must see these charts because this dictates how it's going to be going. So this is the altcoin dominant, or the BTC dominance chart. What this means is what percentage of the total market cap belongs to Bitcoin and what percent belongs to everything else. Okay, so if you go back to the very beginning, as you can see, basically 100% of the market belonged to Bitcoin because that's all that existed. Everything was all Bitcoin, right? Then once we started having these other coins get involved, it slowly started to dissolve away, and percentage of this market went over into altcoins. Now, if you ever heard the term alt season, you want to know what that means. That's whenever all this money from Bitcoin got dispersed between other coins as well. And this is when you had this massive rise from $1 to $420 on Litecoin. So starting here, it just drops. And from the span of March of 2017 all the way until January of 2018, this is what people consider alt season, because as you can see, all that money is being transferred from Bitcoin into altcoins. It's an extremely important chart, and if you're going to be looking at any altcoin, you have to know where this chart is at. Disregard a lot of the lines. I've been doing charting on this one for many years. So don't really get too caught up on exactly what's going on. Let's look at the most recent price action. So as you guys can see, we have a very clear trend line that was established right here. 1, 2 touches, 3 touches, 4 touches, it broke down. When it broke down, that was the signal to a lot of us traders that, hey, we're about to make a lot of money if we're in altcoins. So around this point, I, no kidding, sold almost every bit of Bitcoin I had and transferred over into my altcoins. I have not really touched Bitcoin ever since we broke down because there's so much money leaving Bitcoin going into altcoins. Why would I even want to look at anything but altcoins right now? It doesn't make any sense to me. So as you guys see, once it broke down pretty aggressively, and we've just had a lot of sell pressure, which is money moving out of Bitcoin and into altcoins, right? So a lot of sell pressure driving this price down, or this percentage down, right? It's a percentage. Right now, we're currently hovering at around 50%. However, we're having a very pivotal moment in the market right now. A very pivotal moment in the market. So we'll go over this later, but this is a breaker. What that means, the break in the price action. So the price went up, it consolidated, and it continued going up. Anytime you have a consolidation, that means that there's a lot of resistance. To whatever direction it was trying to go, this is where it fought back. Anywhere it fights back, you expect, if it revisits there, to fight back again. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in. As you guys can see, we're currently around this breaker, and let's see how it actually reacted. We can go to the daily. We can see it came down here, it bounced up really harsh, and it came back in, it bounced up again, and now we're currently down here, right? So we're currently below this breaker, which is very, very important, because once you lose this breaker, the next real level we're looking at right here is down here. I think that's the next solid breaker. We might get a little bit of resistance right here because that is a breaker. However, realistically, this is probably the best we're going to get. So expect, if we lose this, the next place we're going to target is down here at 42%. 8% of Bitcoin's market cap getting moved over to altcoins is massive. I just cannot stress that enough, guys. All right. So there's over $1 trillion in Bitcoin. And when that 1 trillion, when 8% of that $1 trillion transfers over, that's going to make a lot of movement in these smaller coins. The question is, which coin are we going to find, right? And that's what we're here to do. So once it breaks down from here, we're going to be targeting down here. So let's go to a lower time frame. Let's go to the 4 hour, and I'll show you the sort of reaction we're getting right now. You can see how incredibly important this is. So came down here, tested it, bounced off very heavily. Came back down again, consolidated, broke down, and it's just fighting. And it looks like we're finally getting a proper breakdown. That is so good, guys. Like doesn't matter what altcoin you're in right now. This is good no matter what you're in, okay? Awesome, awesome stuff. So this is all dominance. You must watch this chart. Now, if we get back above this level and start trending back up this direction, you need to be careful, right? Because that means money is moving from alts into Bitcoin. But right now, this is a great sign. This is what we want to see. Now, next one we're going to look at is a total 2 chart. This chart is everything in the market minus Bitcoin by market cap. So as you guys can see, it's $1 trillion in the market right now. That's not in Bitcoin. So if you go to the total chart, this is everything including Bitcoin. You go to the total 2, this is everything but Bitcoin, right? This is all of our altcoins all combined in dollar amounts, so US dollars. So $1 trillion in US dollars. This is 100% a tradable chart, just like Litecoin's chart is, okay? And as you guys can see, I've done some movement on here. Let's go to the weekly and see where we're at. You can see it broke above the previous high. We made a weekly breaker. It came back in, tested it, closed above the weekly breaker, and we have just basically been on a moon mission since. Yep, I'm taking away the rocket ship for right now. We'll bring that back in later. So let's go to a 3-day chart, see how we're doing. And you'll see this is how I analyze my charts. I start from the high time frame and work my way in. This makes sure that I'm not focusing in on the details and at least knowing what's going on in the overall structure. So zoom in, not too much going on there. Daily chart. We have this breaker right here, and we actually retested it. I didn't notice this just now. That's a solid breaker. We did come back and retest it or bounce it back up. And let's go over to the 4-hour chart. I love the 4-hour chart. And you can see we made a parallel channel. This is what we have going on here. Channel, channel, channel. Anytime it channels like this, usually you expect it to break out away from the direction that the channel is trending. This channel is trending downwards, so you expect it to break upward, and that's what we did. So as you can see, down, or test bottom, test top, test bottom, broke out, came back in, and did a solid retest, which is beautiful, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Now, we have this breaker right here, like I was saying, drop in price, strong resistance, drop in price some more. That resistance right here, you expect to provide resistance when it comes back up. And as you see, we most certainly did. Came back up here, closed back below, and now we came back up, and we're currently retesting this again. So in 2 hours and 11 minutes, if this does close above here, we have then officially reclaimed this, or let me rephrase it, we've already reclaimed the level. We already reclaimed it right there. But this would be another retest in it and another close above. That's 2 candle closes in a row that are above that 4-hour breaker. Since it's a 4-hour breaker, you need to have a 4-hour candle close before it's considered reclaimed. So, looks great. Total 2 looks amazing. This looks like it's ready to explode. Awesome. I love it. So because of that, rocket ship goes back on. Awesome. Now let's go to our Litecoin chart. That's what we're focusing on in this video. So for our Litecoin, like we did before, we're going to zoom all the way out. Let's go to the monthly chart. See how we're looking on the monthly. See if we can identify anything that really makes sense. So the first thing I like doing is analyzing my moving averages. Since it's on a monthly chart, we don't have any moving averages yet, which is fine. Okay, we're going to hold off on that. Next, what I'm going to do is our volume. Let's look at our volume profile. Rising price with rising volume is bullish. And as you guys see, rising price with a rising volume, that's bullish. This is a bullish indicator for volume. You can see the same thing that happened here. Rising price, rising volume, bullish. It kept rising, kept rising, kept rising. And once it started decreasing, as you guys see, decreasing price with decreasing volume is bullish. This was the sign to us that this was a corrective structure. Okay. Let's see. All right, cool. So monthly chart looks great. The volume profile looks amazing. RSI divergences. Let's go ahead and turn on our RSI real quick. And this is what it looks like. You can't really tell anything on this one. It's just not nearly. Yeah, we really can't tell anything on divergences. Trend lines, same thing. I think it's too zoomed out. Patterns, nothing yet. Breakers. Let's see if we got any breakers yet. This is a solid breaker. I like that because, as you can see, went down, resistance, down, resistance. So breaker there, breaker there. Now, when it came back down here, you can see this. It came up here, retested this breaker. And not only that, here, look at this real quick. Came down here, made a breaker, came back down here, and it came back up. The price came back up and tested that breaker to confirm it. It got rejected, so it went down here, made another breaker, right? Came over here, retested that breaker once again as a resistance, and came back down. Solid. Breaker plays are amazing, guys. I'm telling you, you're going to love them once you really start learning how to do it correctly. So came back above, and now we are currently above all monthly breakers, which is great. That's all I got on the monthly. Let's go to the weekly. All right, weekly chart. So same exact thing. Let's look at our moving averages. This is our 200 moving average. I love the 200 moving average. This is generally the most popular one, and popularity on any sort of a indicator is a good thing because that means a lot of people are looking at the same thing. If people are looking at the same thing as you, that means the price usually will react accordingly, and it will react the way you're expecting because everyone else is looking at the same thing. So we have the 200 moving average. This is the 50 EMA. It's a standard exponential moving average. So whenever you have this crossover right here, this is called a golden crossover. So this golden crossover is a signal to the market that we are extremely bullish on the weekly chart, right? Weekly chart, extremely bullish on the weekly chart. So this happened over here when the price is $120. $120, and it's just exploded to the upside, okay? And also, since we are above the 200 moving average in the weekly, and you can see how it tested from the downside, rejected, then came back up, retested it, and continued up. That looks very, very healthy. This is what you're looking to see on any moving averages. This is a healthy moving average on the weekly. Obviously, we're not going to talk about the weekly moving average anymore because it's way up here. I don't expect it to come back down here for a very long time. Volume, we've already talked about it. Volume looks great. So I really don't have anything else to say on that. RSI, we have a little bit of concern, guys. Okay, our first concerning thing about this chart. This is called rising. We have rising price action. You see that? This to here, this to here. This is all rising. Pretty obvious, right? However, you go down here, you have your RSI. RSI is decreasing. So we have a rising price, dropping RSI. That is concerning. Okay, this is called a bearish divergence. Anything that says bearish in it, concerning, right? Once again, this right here to here is a rising price, but the indicator of the RSI is showing a decrease in RSI. This is a bearish divergence. That's concerning, okay? So yeah, this is our first thing. Everything else looks extremely bullish. We've got our first bearish indicator, and this is a bearish divergence. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, I think RSI and divergences have been taken care of. Let's go ahead to our trend lines. Are there any trend lines that we need to be looking at? Right now, honestly, I don't see anything on this level. We might have something right here. Let's extend that out. Nope, no, we do not. All right, cool. I got nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing. Maybe right here. Yep. All right, so that might be a support level, but realistically, that's all we got right now. All right, and patterns. Well, for patterns wise, it can be argued. Oh, no, I don't want to argue that. I don't want to argue that, but I do know that this is considered. This is what's called a rounded bottom. What that means is a rounded structure right here. Okay, and a rounded structure right here. This is indicative to a very healthy price action that it's slowly dropping, going into a curve, like a sort of like a parabola, if you want to call it, like a bowl shape. And then once it comes back out here, it's already established that bowl and it will keep going up. Whenever you have a slow dropping price like this, it establishes a lot of breakers all the way down, which allow for a very gradual reclaim of these levels. Very healthy looking pattern. Yeah, I got nothing wrong with this pattern whatsoever. Overall, that's all I got. Let's go about to our breakers. So our breaker play, we have this right here. Very obvious weekly breaker. Very obvious, right? You have a downward movement, some sort of a resistance push up, and another downward movement. So this resistance push up is called a breaker, right? Well, let's see where we're at right now. So on our breakers, we had a lot of things happen here. So this closed above this breaker, right? So you see that massive wick to the upside. That is a bearish candle. Okay, that was a bearish candle, and that's a signal to the market. It's called a shooting star. When you have a shooting star candle like that, it tells the market that, hey, expect some rough times ahead. And as you see, we did have some rough times ahead. Now, we have not actually closed below this breaker, which is bearish, okay? Another one of our bearish indicators, right? So came back down here, hit this level, and it is trying to reclaim it. We really, really, really needed to reclaim this level. So we have 4 days and 3 hours to get above this breaker level, which is around 270, about 271, 272. So I need to see this price above 272 to invalidate this breaker being bearish right now, because once it gets below it, this now becomes resistance. We need to get back above it so we reclaim it as support. Okay, so on the weekly time frame, that's what we're looking at. Let's go to the daily. On the daily time frame, we got to zoom in over here, because anything that happened way over in the other region over there, I really don't care about that anymore. That was too far away for any daily candles to really impact it. So let's do the exact same thing. Moving averages, we are currently trending above the 200 moving average in the daily, which is great, right? Golden crossover happened right here. And so around $50, that'd have been your sign to get in the market if that was your indicator. We originally reclaimed that level right around here at $48, and we haven't touched it since. So would a touch of the 200 moving average be healthy? Yes, it'd be a great, great, great buy if we get there. However, that's really far down there. I think we have a lot of stuff in between, including these 2 monthly breakers that are going to stop it from getting down there. So I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see, so volume profile. We are having a decrease in volume that's pretty apparent on here. So we have rising price, decreasing volume. That's a little bit concerning, guys. All right, so we do have another one of those bearish indicators on here. Yep, a little bearish on that in the volume. RSI divergences, same sort of thing, but easier to see. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to show you guys once again what these bearish divergences are looking like. So this is a very clear one. That's a higher high. This is a higher high. This is the high. This is almost the same, guys. So this divergence is not very strong on the daily. So it's very apparent on the weekly, but it's not that strong on the daily. Is it still there? Probably, but is it that strong on the daily? No, it's not. All right, that's good. I want to see that. Now, let's see what else we're looking at. Trend lines. So for trend lines, a little bit there, nothing too crazy. Let's see these 2 levels. No. Yeah, trend lines are very easy, guys. You literally just connect dots until something makes sense. I'm going to leave that there, and that's really all I'm going to put because I just don't see too much of a trend line issue over here. So let's close this one in a little bit. Close this one in a little bit. So we would assume that because this trend line exists, this would provide some sort of support if it fell down there. So overall, not too bad. Now let's go to our patterns. Nothing I see that really sticks out. This could probably be considered some sort of a cup and handle. So this was the cup. We have a handle down there, a slight little decrease, which resulted in a massive explosion. I don't see any other real patterns on here, honestly. I'm just going to go ahead and pass through that one. Now let's go to our breakers. Let's see if we have any breaker plays that I want to look at. Breakers on the daily, breakers on the daily. I like this, even though it's not necessarily a 1 day. It probably is a 3 day or a 2 day. Let's go to it. No, it is on the 2 day. All right, either way, I know it's on a 2 day. It's not very common. However, I think this is actually a pretty solid breaker. And the reason why I say that is because you have this level right here. It came up here, tested it, got rejected. Came up here, tested it, got rejected. Reclaimed it, right? This becomes the breaker. And now we went down below it. We, after some tests into it and closed above it, went back below it. And now we're currently testing it again. So on the daily level, I think this is pretty solid. So I want to see in 1 hour and 59 minutes a close above this level right here. That'd be beautiful if we get it. I really want to see that level claim. And that would be around 256. Or not 256, I take that back. It's going to be 252. 252. Open. Oh, 256.25. That's what I'm looking for. 256.25. I want to see this daily close above there. Now, if we don't get that daily close above there, it's not a massive deal by any means, but I do want to start seeing some levels reclaimed for continue the upside. So on the US dollar pairing, I think it's relatively healthy. I do. I think it's relatively healthy. We do have these bearish divergences playing up. Bearish divergences. We have lost this weekly breaker, but we have 3 days to get back above it, right? Yeah, 4 days and 2 hours to get back above it. So if we get back above this level in 4 days and 2 hours, I think it's a very solid coin on the USD pairing. So the alt dominance looks good. The USD pairing looks good. Now let's go ahead and look at the BTC Pairing Chart. If you are trading altcoins, you have to be aware of where the where Bitcoin is trading in comparison to Litecoin. So this is the comparison between those two coins. A little bit weird chart. I know it's something you have to really get used to. This is a comparative structure to Bitcoin. So way down here, that means Litecoin is very, very cheap compared to Bitcoin. And way up here, that means Litecoin is very expensive compared to Bitcoin. Okay. So right now, let's look at where we're at. I already have this level marked off, just so I didn't lose it. But this is my, I want to say a breaker. This is my like springboard level that I really liked for this chart because this was the last real candle that broke down and closed before the springboard to the upside. So this little open and close area, I like that as a level to retest. And if you come back over here, you can see that we absolutely retested just barely that level. I like that. That's a really, really solid retest. Now, the next thing I'm going to go over on this chart, or let's do my systematic way. I don't want to try to skip things. Let's go to the monthly, see if we have anything that's sticking out to us. That's a very solid breaker. Oh, didn't get it all the way. Let's do it again. Very clean, solid breaker. Very clean, solid breaker. And I think I'm pretty content on that. I think I am. Moving averages, we don't have it on this chart. Volume profile, a little bit hard to do on the BTC pairing. It really is. That being said, it does seem like we do have a more interest in the coin the further it dropped down. And once it springboarded off, yeah, I think it looks okay. I think it's okay. The volume profile looks okay for right now. RSI and divergences. Monthly chart, really hard to tell. Really hard to tell right now, guys. So we'll have to go to a more in-depth or a lower time frame chart. Trend lines, we'll go over that in a bit. Patterns, we'll go over that in a bit because I have a really good one we'll go over. Then breakers, we've already broken those down. All right, so on the monthly, that's what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and go to the weekly. On the weekly chart, let's see if we have any breakers. See a little bit more increase in volume right now. So the up candles tend to have, I'm not even gonna say that honestly, but like this is what you're expecting. You see this massive increase in volume right here. This is the sign you're looking for of just a springboard up like that. And you can see the amount of volume compared to when it started rising. That's an incredibly low. There we go. Yeah, just to give you an idea of how much volume of increase it is. That's what you want to see. A slow increase in volume as it starts rising. And the same thing over here. This volume increase is very healthy, and you can tell this candle was going to explode. Then let's keep going over. Nothing yet. So our volume is not very impressive yet. Okay, so we still have some work to do on the weekly. Let's see if we have any really good levels. That's a good level. Weekly level, weekly level. This is a weekly level. This is, I'm not gonna, it's already been covered really by there. This is a weekly level, which, wow, that was a really good level. Okay, so you see it came down here, it hit it, went back below it, and this became the level, came back above, tested it from the bottom side, came back up, tested it again from the bottom side. Now, something you're going to learn is that this becomes a horizontal support and resistance. So it was a support, and now it becomes a resistance. The more times a resistance is tapped from the downside, the more likely it is to break on the next one, okay, and vice versa. The more time a support is hit from the top side, the more likely it is to break downward. So this looks really good. I think that since we've already tapped it twice, I think the next go might be the one that bumps it up, but we'll see. So I think I'm pretty content with this, honestly. Now let's go to a 3-day. I didn't do this before, but I'm going to do it now. So this is a very important thing, and I want to really drive this one home. This is a pretty clear trend line, right? You have a touch, you have a touch, touch. You have a touch, a touch, a touch, and a touch again, okay? This is what's called a falling wedge. What that means is you're having lower highs and not as low of lows. So it's basically converging into an apex. This is a bullish structure, and it currently has broken out of the falling wedge. That's extremely bullish, okay? Extremely bullish. So now that it's broken above this level and it's come back in and actually retested this breaker slash the trend line, that's a very important sign. So what we want to see this year-long falling wedge, a lot of strength behind it, have some oomph and push us up. But I think it has the power because that is such a solid level. It bounced off this weekly level. I think this BTC pairing looks really good right now, guys. Okay, let's see what else I'm looking at. It's currently rejecting off of this 3-day 200 moving average. Not too important of a level though, so I'm not too concerned yet. That's really I want to go on the 3-day. Let's go to a daily chart. On the daily, let's see where we're at. You know, I really don't see many breakers here that I really like. This one right here, but it's already been covered. Yeah, I don't see any breakers. I think we're actually pretty solid with the current position. Now, this is making what I would consider, let me fix this real quick. Here we go. This is making what I would consider a consolidation pattern. Not a great one, but I think it's a little bit of consolidation. So when it makes a consolidation pattern like that, you have an impulse up, and you have a consolidation. Well, the impulse consolidation usually results in another impulse. It's usually how that works. Now, the exact how far of an impulse it's going to have is dependent upon many different things. Generally, you just want to target the next breaker, which has already touched that, so probably somewhere in there. I think it's probably a pretty reasonable target for the next impulse. So hope that makes sense. So let's try to put it all together and see where we're at right now. So on the BTC pairing, we're currently breaking out of this year-long falling wedge. It is making a consolidation pattern after an impulse. That's good. We've already tested this breaker many times here. So let's call it one massive time, and we actually tested it 3 different times here. Another time, another time. So this has been tested many, many, many times. So I would expect to be tested so many times, the next time it should be the one that busts it out, right? Makes sense to me, especially after a consolidation pattern like that. On the downside, let's see if we have any real thing. Ooh, we just had a golden crossover on the BTC pairing. You guys see that? That is a golden crossover. So that means that institutional investors have now been notified, because a lot of people wait until that golden crossover happens before they really enter a market, because this means there is substantial growth and substantial bullishness before they enter. And this is on the BTC pairing because the 50 EMA is currently above the 200. Well, that's a pretty damn good sign. So let's break this all down for us. Because of the golden crossover, this resistance that has been tested many, many times, this year-long falling wedge, the consolidation pattern over an impulse, I think this chart is pretty dang bullish. Yeah, I would say pretty dang bullish. This looks really, really good, guys. We even have a solid retest onto that trend line. That looks good. And for the USD pairing, we have a bearish divergence, which very well could be invalidated if we get a solid push. If we get a solid push and this RSI does shoot up, we can absolutely break and validate this level. So not too bad. I think it's definitely workable. We are 1 hour and 49 minutes away from this one. We have actually gotten a little bit further above it, which I do like. And this weekly candle closes in 4 days and 2 hours. So, all right, here's my assessment. Now, going from the top all the way down, from the top level all the way to the low time frame, because I don't do anything less than daily, because I don't care about what happens intraday. All I want to know is, will my investment be safe for a longer period of time? I'm talking like months down the road. Is Litecoin safe for months? Yes, I think it's safe. I want to see this level get above here. If it gets above here in 4 days and 2 hours, that is my line in the sand. If it gets above here, I am super, super bullish on Litecoin. Rocket ship is in. Rocket ship's enabled, guys. I like it. I think it has a lot of potential. The solid way to really look at this would be once it reclaims this level, then you want to dive in. But yeah, based upon the alt dominance chart, based upon the US dollar chart, based upon the BTC chart, based upon all of our different indicators, all telling us mostly the same thing. Yeah, I think it's going to go up, guys. That's my assessment. Well, I'm going to do a lot more of these videos, my very first one. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will keep you guys updated with all the latest information on crypto.